Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. Good evening. Tonight, I'm going to talk about not looking for your partner's validation or for anybody's validation for that matter, okay? As human beings, whether we're male or we're female, we're always looking for somebody's validation, okay? If we're female and we're dealing with our partners, we're always looking for that validation. How do I look tonight? Did I say the right thing? And it goes the other way too, partner to partner, or men looking for validation from their female partners or partners. A lot of men have very fragile egos. Not all men, but they're always looking for that validation, okay? They want to know that you like them. People want to know that they're liked, all right? And a lot of people worry about getting someone's validation. It could be somebody's validation in business. It could be somebody's validation, a family member. Maybe you want validation from a mother or a father, that you just want their praise. You want to know that you're doing well or that they're proud of you. What I'm here to talk about, okay, is very, very important, you guys, all right? This can make a big difference in your life. What I'm here to tell you basically is that you should not look for validation from anybody in your life except yourself. The only person that you have to worry about is yourself and validating yourself and being happy with yourself, all right? It's like a friend of mine who went to the gym. She put on a few extra pounds and she asked one of her male friends at the gym, do I look better or do I look worse? And he said, I liked you a little bit thinner. He said, but it's not what I like or anybody else likes. It's what you like, okay? That's kind of the point of where I'm going with this. And I'm going to tell you why, all right? Because when you validate yourself and you don't look for somebody else's validation, you become so much more powerful as a person, all right? No matter what you do in your everyday life, whether it's dealing with your partner, whether it's in business, whether it's with families, whether it's with your friends, you have empowered yourself. Okay? In other words, in a sense, you have built up your self-confidence and you're going to give off an aura of self-confidence, all right? People that are self-confident, all right, are in a lot of cases respected more. And this is what I'm trying to, convey to you guys is that stop looking for validation from everybody in your life. Stop looking for it, all right? Like, no matter who you deal with, all right? What you need to do in your everyday life, no matter what it is, no matter who you're dealing with, whether you're dealing with teachers at your children's school, whether you're dealing with your coworkers, okay? You need to do your due diligence, in a sense. You need to know your shit in whatever you do, okay? If you're having an argument with your partner, you have to look at it. You have to analyze things, all right? You have to do your homework no matter what you're doing. Research, you guys, all right? And try to get as much information no matter what matter or what problem you come across in your life, all right? So that you have the answers and it will build up your own validation, okay? And you'll believe in yourself. You'll know what you're talking about, all right? For instance, I'm going to give you an example, all right? Let's say that you're going to see a physician for whatever health matter that you could be having. You research before you even go into his office so that you know what to ask him when you walk in there, all right? So you're one step ahead of the game, all right? When you're dating, you're in the dating world. You find out as much information about that person as possible so that you could ask them intelligent questions and really get to know the type of person you're dealing with. You know, I talk about it in other podcasts all the time. I always say to you guys, know who you're dealing with. Know who you're dealing with. Whether it's in business, whether it's a new partner that you're dating, look at their prior track record, look at their family history, look at their work history, look at their general qualities as a person, okay? If you go out with them, do they get angry at the waiter over something small or trivial, all right? These are all clues as to the type of people that you're dealing with in your life, okay? You have to pick up on these signs, you guys, because what happens is a lot of people, this comes with years of experience and life, having to deal with a lot of different people. You learn it and you become, if you pick up on things, you learn how to deal with different people in your life, all right? But what I'm trying to tell you is you need to analyze people in your life that you deal with. And this is what a lot of people that are in relationships, they go in blind. And they always use that excuse, oh, love is blind, love is blind. No, love is not blind. Your lust is blind, okay? Because you're not necessarily in love with that person. You're in lust with that person. You're looking at that person from a different perspective, a different angle than, let's say, if you knew them for 10 years. Okay, let's say you knew somebody for 10 years and you say, I'm in love with them. That's a different story. You know that person inside out, okay? But if you're dating somebody and it's in the initial phases, all right, the first couple of months, all right, there's people that date somebody for a year and don't know the person, all right, because they don't pick up on the red flags, okay? For instance, if you're dealing with a narcissistic type of personality, somebody who is very self-absorbed, it's all about them. They may put the blame on you. I mean, there's different flags that come up that you need to pick up on, you guys. But the whole point of this podcast is to talk about not looking for somebody else's validation of yourself, all right? Because when you do that, when you're always looking for that approval from somebody else or that praise from somebody else, you make yourself look weak, all right? You're putting a weak mindset on yourself, and it's breaking down your self-worth. It's breaking down your self-esteem. I had one person contact me, a client contacted me, and she said to me she was going through, problems with a gentleman that she was dealing with, and she said, I don't know whether to ask him, I don't know what he wants. And I said to her, it's not so much what he wants, it's what you want too. Don't forget about yourself. It's what you want too, okay? Everybody's trying to please the other person because they're trying not to lose them, and they lose themselves, all right? So, you have to think about yourself, and you have to stop looking for other people's approval, all right? And when you do that, okay, you become such a stronger individual. No matter where you go, whether you walk into a job interview and you walk in with self-confidence, all right, people recognize that. I mean, I used to work down on Wall Street, and I worked for some of the best investment banks on Wall Street, okay? And a lot of the reasons I got the job was I walked in with self-confidence. I researched, I learned about the companies, I researched what they were looking for specifically, and I positioned myself so that I was the right fit for what they were looking for. But the point is, I walked in, not timid or shy. I walked in with self-confidence, like, here I am, and these are the reasons that you should hire me. This is my background. I have experience. I know what I'm doing. I like to problem solve, but I'm just using that as an example, for instance, in business. But in relationships, okay, when you're dealing in relationships, all right, when you're dealing with your partner, all right, you need to be very mature. Like I said, you can't be overly emotional all the time. When people talk a lot, communication is important if you're dealing with somebody who's a communicator, obviously. But there's some people that are very difficult to deal with, and I'm sure a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're dealing with difficult partners, and a lot of times you're always sitting there trying to plead your case. You're always sitting there trying to, you're trying to talk to this person. You're trying to open this person up. You're trying to get this person's, validation of what you're saying, or their validation of liking you, and you're making yourselves look weak. Now, I'm not saying not to communicate with your partner, but you have to do it in a mature manner. You have to know what you're talking about when you come and you sit down with them and you talk to them, and you talk to them in a very calm, collective, cool, kind of business-like way, except there's motions involved, all right? And make them understand what you're trying to say. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz. I want to tell you about my 2 books that are on Amazon, okay? You can download them free with the trial membership from Kindle. The first book is Regain Your Power. If you're in a relationship and you feel like your partner has all the control in the relationship, maybe you're walking around on eggshells, you're afraid to approach them, it's going to tell you how to regain your power and be happy in the relationship, okay? And what you may be doing wrong, and that's why your partner has all the control in the relationship. The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time. There's a lot of people that are dating someone or in a relationship with somebody who's not really vested in the relationship. And we often are confused as to whether our partner really likes us or is into us or wants a future with us. And this book is going to give you signs and red flags of whether your partner is into you or he's just basically drifting and wasting your time. So go to Amazon and download the Kindle free trial membership. Doesn't cost you anything. And check it out. It may help you. Okay? And have a great day. Okay? You don't sit there and try to beg anybody. All right? When you beg your partner, you're making yourself look weak. You're taking away your self-worth, and your partner will lose respect for you. You just simply have to talk about whatever issue you guys are having a disagreement about, all right? And you have to be fair about it too as well, you guys. It can't always be, what you want. You have to meet in the middle with your partner, and you have to explain to them, in a very concise manner exactly what you're looking for and what you hope to achieve that will benefit the both of you, okay? And that person should be willing to, have conversation with you and try to work with you if they're fully invested in the relationship. Now, if you're dealing with a partner that isn't fully invested in the relationship, or they're always used to you coming to them, you always have to come to them to, get their approval or their validation, all right? They're going to have more of the power. So what you need to do is you need to pull back a little bit and, communicate what you have to say, but don't go on and on and on and on and make yourself look weak. I can't tell you how many relationships there are, especially with marriages, right? With a husband and wife, how many times, the wife was trying to communicate to the husband, and the husband was pretty much stonewalling her, all right? Because he was so used to her always coming up to him, and he would constantly give her the silent treatment because he knew that killed her. And that was his way of controlling her, all right? And the more he did it, the more she went in more and more, trying to explain to him on and on. But wait, what about this? Wait, what about that? Instead of pulling herself back after she said what she had to say, she should have drawn herself back and held herself and held her validation and not have to go and have to plead her case on and on. All right? You don't want to bow down to anybody in a way, all right? Because when you pull back, that person will be drawn towards you because you're pulling back, all right? You have self-validation. You understand what I'm saying? You have self-validation, which means that you believe in what you're saying. You say what you have to say, okay? In a very congenial type of manner, all right? You don't attack anybody. You don't name call anybody, all right? We don't lower ourselves to that level. We say what we have to say, and, we see what our partner comes back with, all right? You try to meet with them in the middle. Now, if your partner starts, trying to be toxic and they're putting you down or they're throwing you digs, you disengage. You disengage from anybody that comes back at you in any sort of toxic manner because you have self-validation. You will not be talked to in that type of manner, okay? You totally disengage and you walk away when somebody does something like that. What you're telling them in a sense is that you're not going to engage in that type of conversation until they talk to you in a respectful manner, okay? And believe me, a lot of them will be caught off guard with that, all right? Because they're probably so used to you going back and forth, the toxic conversation, the toxic arguments, back and forth. But when they come at you with any kind of conversation, criticizing you or putting you down or throwing you digs, you just walk away and you just say, when you're able to talk to me in a respectful manner, we can continue this conversation, okay? And I'm telling you, they will sit there with their jaw opened, okay? Because what you're doing is you're handling it, with class. You're not lowering yourself. You're not calling them names. You're not coming back at them, all right? In kind of attacking way, because you're better than that. You're not going to lower yourself to that level. What you're going to do is you're going to bring them up to your level, okay? And, they will only respect you because you're not name calling, you're not criticizing, you're simply trying to talk to them and you're trying to be respectful, and they should give you that same respect back, all right? And it makes a world of difference. See, I know it's very hard because emotions get involved, and sometimes we talk without thinking first, okay? You always need to stay in control. You always need to think before you talk, all right? And, once it comes out of your mouth, you can't take it back, all right? You could always say something down the road, but once it comes out of, like for instance, let's say you're arguing over their family members. If you say something about somebody in their family, all right, they're not going to forget it. They may forgive you, but they're not going to forget it, all right? So you have to walk carefully when you're dealing with somebody's family. I'm just using that as an example, all right? But the thing is, you always want to stick to the topic on hand. See, that's another thing too that a lot of couples do, all right? They start out talking about the topic and then they go off target and they start talking about, well, you did this or you did that, and that's your fault, and then it's the blame game, okay? And then everybody's blaming each other for things, all right? And it could get very ugly, and then you get to a point where the two of you are not talking at all, all right? And you've totally you have that wall up, all right? You don't want to get to that point. So what you want to do is you want to just stick to the topic on hand. You yourself, before you start to have a conversation with your partner, you're going to talk to them and you're going to think about it before you have the conversation, what you're going to bring up and how you're going to bring it up. And, you're not going to attack anybody or criticize anybody. You're just going to communicate with them about what bothers you or if there's a problem there and how the two of you could work it out, all right? But the point is, whether you're dealing with your partner, you're dealing in business, you're dealing with family, okay? You're going to have different relationships all around you that you have to deal with, all right? So the point is, stop looking for validation from everybody in what you say, how you look, how you act, all right? I mean, if you want to ask somebody's opinion that's close to you, all right, about yourself, that's one thing, and you have to be able to take criticism, just for self-improvement. I'm just saying in an instance like that. But when you're dealing in different relationships with the people in your life, okay, you have to basically, if you know what you're talking about and you've done your due diligence and you've done your homework on things and you know exactly what you're talking about, all right, then you need to believe in yourself, okay? I can't tell you how important self-esteem is in your life and the impact it will have on the people in your life and the respect you will get for it, and the accomplishments and the goals you will achieve by having it, all right? So, do your homework, research whatever you're doing, if it's a topic that you're having a problem with in your everyday life, research it and, look at it from every single angle, all right? And once you know what you're talking about, you will have your own self-validation. Now, I'm not just going around and saying, well, everybody should have self-validation. No, you have to know what you're talking about too, okay? You have to know that, what? I've done my homework. I've done my due diligence. I know what I'm talking about before I sit down and I have a conversation with somebody, no matter who that person is that you're having a conversation with, whether it's in business, whether it's in your dating life, whether it's in your relationship life, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's with your children, no matter who you're dealing with, all right? Whether it's with your friends, all right? Know what you're talking about. When you know what you're talking about and you look at the issue from every different angle, all right? Then, take your stand, talk to the person that you're having the disagreement with, all right? And just tell them the reasoning behind what you believe, okay? Now, not everybody could see things the way you see them, all right? But if you know what you're talking about and you've really researched the topic, don't let anybody bring you down, all right? Don't let anybody bring you down, all right? This is all about having your own self-worth, your self-validation. Stop looking to other people to make you feel better, all right? Do things for yourself so that you do feel better, okay? I hope that helps you. If it did, please hit the subscribe button and share, and have a great night.